Welcome everyone to the second to last race of the PPR iRacing GT3 League. As you can see, we are Oulton Park with a very orange tint, and that is because we're here at 6 AM around that. So the temperature is low, and I've never seen these conditions before. It's not necessarily foggy, but the visibility is definitely a bit questionable. I don't think everyone's going to be at the peak eyesight when everything's orange like this. But nevertheless, quite an exciting circuit when it comes to Britain. You've got Silverstone, and then I usually would say, usually would say the new, or I believe I said that right, as the second circuit that's in the ACC, British GT DOC, but this Oulton Park is, I believe, used more often, and it's, I think, more popular in iRacing anyways, especially considering that it's a free circuit. So all the drivers should have some vague knowledge of it, considering it is free, so someone must have raced at it. But that's not always the case at Charlotte Rover, for instance. Not everyone likes to race there. Or even maybe Legacy Daytona. With just 2 races remaining, this and the next one, which is Sebring, if I remember correctly. Yep. They're both 45 minutes, so back to the usual VRS formula pretty much. Sebring at night. Here we've got nice morning, bright morning really. And I will read us out the standings just to make sure we know where everyone is. So currently in the lead of GT3 Pro we have Alex Gao with 170 points. Following him we've got Chris Barrett and Dan Bull, 152.5 and 116.5 points. Well, that's drop points, but I'll just read those out anyways. So that's the lowest scoring week discarded. I could see that the session advanced, so we'll be there in a moment. And in the lead of the AM Championship, we've got Carlton Small with 141 points, and Nick Green with 129.5, and Colin Worcester with 106. So there is still points to be gained, and maybe a fight to be finished, although it depends on how unlucky some of the drivers are. There is definitely a fight for the podium in GT3 Pro, and a fight for P5 in GT3 AM, so there's actually a few more positions there, here and there. So there's still some stuff to be gained. I mean, even if it's just bragging rights or just happiness for yourself that you did well, is just nevertheless quite good. So we've got our first drivers out on track, right there. And we've got a more purplish tint of Oulton Park now. So let's take a look at the weather conditions. It's still 18-17 degrees, but it's actually early in the morning, it's 5:30, so that is something to look out for. 60 kilometers of wind, humidity, however, look at that. So there is definitely some slight fog. 97%, that's in other tracks or other times, this would be a very thick fog, but it's not in Pelagos. The pressure is actually a bit higher than usual, I think. But we've already got Ruthless and Starling as far as flying left, and Nick Green too. So that's turn 1. Quite an interesting corner. I'm not sure how the GT3 stayed, but it can be very bumpy. And then you also have to take the exit, but not go too wide because it's some kind of Astro, I believe. Yeah, you can see there in that corner is also Astro. You need to take a bit of it to get just perfect speed and entry out that exit out of the corner. But if you want to take too much to get out, it does vary between games, so the project card was very harsh, based by the way it felt. But it might not be that bad. You can see the very nice start ahead, goes ahead. That very long run after the lap. The layer we're using has hard braking, slow right, left, and then back to right. Straight, but this is not the layer we're using. Slight left, another left, and then very fast double right. You can definitely lose the car here. It was very fun and high dynamics car actually, and another slight crest to cross over, to come over, sorry. Final corner. Nothing too quickly or technical, but when you're going side by side, it could be quite scary at times. So with some corners actually having a slight right or left forward action. So by a whole 0.3 of a second. Alex Gall taking the lead spot, and actually it's waste the time. Where is it? Let me go find it. We've got 11 minutes to the only name I can really pronounce perfectly since we are both Polish. Coming in, West already purple in sector 2. There's actually quite a bit of sectors for a track that isn't that long actually. Quite confused why that is. Can we just split into 3 sectors of 30 seconds? For GT3. Oulton is improving on his lap, so hopefully he can get ahead of the green this time. Yes, we get out. Chicago's taking his first lap. Mustang is playing up soon. That's not passing Valley in his first lap. And now he's going to Colin West the purple in sector 6 as well. Can he take it to the end? Yeah, there you go. That's P4 now. 4 times behind Alex Gall, 28.8. No, sorry, 28.4. Nick Green, 28.8. So, Oulton between these two. Colin West just about missed pole position, or provisional pole position, with 28.887. Just 100 of a second behind Nick Green. Matt Anderson jumping into P8. So, we've got a few times coming in. We don't have that many drivers today. We have just about 22, I believe. So not the highest attendance, but it would be fairly hectic around this quite thin, quite narrow circuit. So nothing to worry about. Okay, yeah, that's fixed it. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Check the chat and I realized, yeah. No idea why I did that. Okay, not sure how bad it was, but Nick Green is currently on a purple sector 6, coming across the line. Let me go find him. There he goes. In the Lamborghini. Quite a few people have switched cars. I believe Jamie Conway is in the Audi now. Yep, as we said, as he told me. The Green's in the Lamborghini after doing quite a few races in the BMW. And obviously Alex Gall switched from the legendary Ford to the Lamborghini as well. Edward Pope currently on the purple sector 3. Not much improvements anywhere else for now. Coming across the line soon. .120, so just 1/10 off. You can see people are finding quite a bit of time in just the middle sectors, sector 2, sector 6, sector 3, 4 maybe, but just not much, not enough to really get the provisional pole or at least close the gap fully. So Nick Green is already gaining some time on his lap. Can he gain enough to maybe get ahead of a few more pro drivers? Steve Rubino saying his first lap now as well. Nick Green not improving through the middle sectors. But the race lab's livery. Very good app if you're wondering what user interface or HUD to use while you're driving. Not necessarily for streaming, but for driving it works. Competitive to caps. Has some free features, others are behind a very small paywall. Adam Singer jumping into P8 with a 28.819. Our provisional pole driver starting his second flying lap, I believe. Yep, this will be actually his third. So he has one more after this. Actually, what I'm wondering is, this is close qualifying, so I believe we may have decided that it was better. Robert Brown jumping to P3, 29.296. So roughly on target with the 3 practice times drivers were doing. At the top, finding time in sector 2 and 5, but nowhere else. Can he improve his lap in general? That might actually be in his out lap, or warm-up lap. Alex Gall finding time in sector 1 and 3. It's not purple, but it's improvements on his own time, so that does mean it's improving the provisional pole. The VRS Satellite Racing Lamborghini. Now that's sector 5 coming to an end. Very fast right-hander coming up. Well, double right. Improvement in sector 5. Looking quite clean so far. Now just the final corner remaining. No improvement in sector 6. Look how much speed he's carrying into the corner. That Lamborghini turns in very well, like the Audi as well. And that's purple sector 6, improving his previous lap by 700ths of a second with a 27.912. So that's the first 27 on the race, the session. You may see one in the race, so I won't say qualifying. Edward Top 2 times behind with 28.1. 28.8 is the provisional pole, with Colin Worcester getting very close to over 8.87. And that's a little bit of a skid there by Alex Gall. 5 minutes of qualifying remaining. Dan Bull out on track currently, aiming to improve his times. In the iRacing.gg BMW M4. And there he is, he's pitting. A decent pit entry, I'd say, out of the tracks we've been at. And not perfect, however. I would say there are better ones or slightly easier ones. You can definitely hit the wall there if you're not careful. Or if you slam the brakes a little bit too hard and maybe turn in too much. There is definitely time to be gained on the pit entries and exits though. You definitely have to bear that in mind. The faster you go, the more time you can gain, but you can also bin in the pit entry, and that's quite embarrassing and can be quite dangerous for the cars around, especially if they follow you into the pits. Steve Rubino going quite slowly right now. Alex Gall finished his 4th lap, so that's him done with qualifying. Actually, everyone's done with qualifying right now. So it's just Steve and Steve Hughes that we're waiting on. Once they're done with their laps, and actually Dan Reed as well, Dan Reed has to finish his 4 laps. Once everyone will be done with their laps, we will actually progress. Otherwise, there's not really a way to do it. Who's pitbox 1? Pitbox 1, I'm actually not sure. There's no way to check that, although it might even be the fastest car, like qualifying based, or by number. By number, it would be Dan Bull, the number 1 BMW M4. By qualifying, will be Alex Gall, of course. Or if it's just completely random, then we'll have to find out. Or if it's inverted by number, then it will be 186, I believe, of James Braid. If pitbox 1 is the actual first one on the right where you can easily miss it, then yeah. But we don't have that many drivers, so I believe we'll start from the very pit exit pretty much and go from there. I'm not too sure though. Yeah, but then we have another driver, Steve Hughes, that hasn't done any laps yet, so we're not sure if he's going to do any. Not really a way to check. So, you know, if we're waiting, we'll just wait as a pack. Pairs assigned by Grid, yeah. I thought it's that, but I do think there's actually a way maybe to change that, because I remember with faster classes actually being behind GTs, which was quite odd, but it happened before. Although I don't know if that's a bug, maybe not a regular occurrence, maybe it's a setting somewhere. Who knows? Chris Barrett out on track. Obviously, he doesn't really have to do anything yet. He's on cold tires and he can't actually do a flying lap, so we're just waiting for the session to advance. I can't show the results until, or at least a nice grid module, until all the drivers have finished qualifying and advance to the next session. Pitbox 18 is the worst. Okay. We do have 22 drivers, so someone will have pitbox 18 if we're going from smallest to largest, I guess. The weird orangish, maybe a little bluish tint, purplish tint, still hasn't gone away. So it does seem like this may stay for the race. It started as more purplish, now it's orangish again. Not quite sure why it does that. It's quite interesting. This would be called dust conditions, I believe. Never driven in these conditions myself. I've driven in fog, but not dusk or sunrise, as others may call it. Or would it be dawn? Okay, there we go. So that's qualifying over. Actually, no, that's wrong. We will have like this. Alex Gale starting on pole position alongside an Edward Hope. Then Chris Bauer and Jamie Conway in P3 and P4. Ruth Anderson and Dan Ball in P5, P6. Jakub Maciejewski and Adam Singer in P7, P8. Nick Green and Colin Worcester in P9, P10. Chris Scar and Eric Love, P11, P12. Chris Scar and Eric Love, P11 and P12. Jukaho and Robert Brown in P13, P14. Jason Orr and Carlton Small, P15, P16. James Braid and Matt Edwards in P17, P18. Dan Reed and Oliver Swan, P19, P20. Steve Rubino and Steve Hughes, P21 and P22. I'm going to assign Steve Hughes a color. Does occur that sometimes they just don't get assigned a class, but it's as easy as literally selecting a few buttons, really, or a little drop-down menu. Let me see, should be okay now. Is it? No, it's not. Why isn't it okay? It's quite odd. Well, it's not ideal. I guess I'll figure out how to do it now, that way. You can hear cars revving their engine in the background, so we switch the cameras while I try and fix this in the background. Okay, there we go. The blimp camera is, yeah, that's some serious fog right there. That's the scenic camera, and that's the TV1 camera. You can see the cars pulling away now. Porsche safety car leading them off. And Alex Gall right behind it with Edward Hope. Weather conditions are roughly the same as what we had in practice and qualifying so far. And Steve Hughes is not on track, so that should be okay when it comes to assigning the colours. Okay, so as someone said, pit box 18 is a hard ride as soon as you enter pits, so that means someone will have to endure that. Probably not ideal. We'll be live with PV1, I guess, for the start.
Green flag, green flag.
And we're green. Alex Gall starts you off quite early. Possibly green flag forcing him to do this, so. And he's already leading into turn 1. Chris Barrett on the inside of Edward Hope, making it through into turn 1. They're tucked in behind each other. There's a little bit of fighting. Oulton and Dan Bull and Jakub Maciejewski right there. A little bit of fighting behind. You've got Con West and Eric Love. Everyone still seems to be fine. Keep going a little bit too wide. They're just tucking the nose in there. But it seems to be fine. Dan Bull getting past Oulton now into P5. Already a bit of a gap forming between Dan Bull and Jamie Conway. Eric Love chasing off the pro and leader Con Wester, and that's Dan Bull in the wall. The first victim. What happened there? Let's take a look at that. Coming out of the hairpin, touching a little bit of grass and losing it. Good job on trying to flick it back, but maybe that saved him a little bit of damage. He's definitely at the back of the pack now, though, so the damage has been done anyways. And at least he's still driving. We do have the fast whip available. Alex Gall leading us off quite well. Chris Barr already pulling under pressure behind, getting a very good start into P2, gaining a position on Edward Hope. Already a gap of 1.6 seconds from Oulton to Jamie Conway. So now that train of 4 cars is running away now. Unless Oulton can maybe catch up. Con Wester already pulling away a bit on Nick Green, Nick Green actually started ahead of him, but he's already got a second on him with Eric Love in between them. So Con pulling out the fantastic starts as usual. At Long Beach he pulled a very nice gap throughout the entire race. I haven't seen many position changes throughout AM, but I do think James Brady lost a few positions. Yeah, there he is. 5.3 seconds behind Steve Rubino. And there's Dan Bull behind as well. Dan Reed in the pits, so maybe there was some sort of contact. Not exactly sure. It doesn't seem like there was a crash while we weren't looking. So maybe there was some sort of contact, maybe some issues. But that seems to be okay for now. There's a fight for P3 in AM. Jason or Carter Smooth, Matt Edmondson right now. And Drew Carroll behind there, helping to get past. He just had him off the track quite recently, although it wasn't anything major. So we've got this fight and the fight for the lead with Alex Gall, Chris Barrow, Edward Hope right now. And that's actually a little bit of a... We did see Carter Small maybe try and take a look on the inside line, but he didn't actually go for it. It was a little bit too far behind. Nick Green's saying the fastest lap of the race for himself, for AM as well. A little bit of contact, banging blows between Robert Brown and Jason Orr. Now we've got cars coming in. I can't really see in this camera with the chopper camera. Matt Emerson putting on the pressure. That's Robert Brown in the grass. Is he okay? He's fine, but he lost that back end a bit. Okay, so we do need a good camera to look at from the top. Maybe the chopper camera is exactly that. So let's take a look at what happened. So you can see, he just went far too fast into the corner. Coming into the grass, mowing the lawn very well, although it's definitely already mowed. No damage, no walls in sight. But he's running towards the back now, so a few mistakes made by a few drivers, but with a small grid, no crashes really. Or these crashes involving other cars. Now, the fight for the lead. Just about half a second separates each driver. So that's Alex Gall, Chris Barrett, Edward Hope and Jamie Conway a bit further back. Also in the BMW, since Jamie Conway and Chris Barrett are now racing for Rennie GTN Racing. They've joined forces. Oliver Swan getting past Matt Edmondson. What's up with Matt Edmondson? Going a bit slowly. I believe he went off track. Yes, let's take a look at that. That's Drew Carho. Matt Edmondson losing the rear end. Out of the corner, maybe touching a little bit of grass or uneven surface. Maybe some damage on that car, but it doesn't seem like it. visually at least. So now this fight has dissipated a bit. Jason Orr is up in P3 ahead of Carlton Small. Actually pulling a little bit of a gap. Although Carlton may go for a move whenever he gets the opportunity to. Obviously with Robert Brown out of the way, this does make it a bit easier for Juka to get by whenever he desires. So Orr has the pace to really get past. There's no blue flags, so there's a bit more pressure on Juka to actually make a safe overtake, since no one's going to be yielding really. we can start calling it as soon as we get bad grass. That is something I'd have to agree on. Oh, that's Jason Orr's rear end gone, and into the grass. The grass did stop him there. Oh, maybe a little bit of rear damage. Maybe not. It looks okay. That's Jason Orr falling down the order, so you can see mistakes being made left, right, and centre. Robert Brown quite a bit behind Jason Orr. Managed to get back on track quite a lot more quickly actually. So Jason didn't fall all the way back, but he's still on the rear. Now has to do all the work again. Alex Gao, not really getting that much of a lead. That's Dan Reed actually off the track as well. We just saw him not having the greatest race. We saw him box in, not exactly sure what for. But let's take a look at what happened anyways. Losing the rear end, maybe some cold tyres, and then losing it again, and then flipping the grass and drifting into the hairpin, but obviously drifting doesn't work in the GT3. Coming off the track, very, very nearly making contact with Alex Gao. Good job on getting off the track though. Could have been much worse if all the cars were coming by. They had to avoid them on the inside. And it's quite difficult to reverse up a bank corner anyways. So Dan Reed not having the greatest race of his life. You can see there's damage on the front anyways. But you can keep driving, maybe gain something back, maybe even unlap himself. Now that's already something to feel good about. Oh, there you go. As I was saying before, the 1x boundary, I'd say, on the exit of turn 1, it's not that bad as you saw Alex Gao going a little bit wider there. Don't think he got an X for that. Oh, actually, no, he did. He did. I'm not exactly sure what the incident limit is, but you could definitely use them to your advantage if you have some left over and you know you're not going to spin out or make contact with someone. But you can see how close behind Ed Hope is to Chris Barrett. That Beamer was very strong at Monza, but is it very strong here? Maybe the Ali's a little bit stronger. It's definitely not the highest speed circuit, or at least top speed circuit. And you can see Jamie Conway losing time on the main pack. But he's still hanging on there. If they start fighting, he'll catch up again. 1.3 seconds. It's not an eternity. It's a lot, but it's not an eternity. But 3/10, that is diving range. If you were very, very assertive and knew what you were doing. I would say we'd look at the last laps, but looking at how the gap isn't changing really. It'd just be 1-2 tenths difference maybe per lap, one way or another. So it's just... it's difficult to really show how level these guys are, besides just saying that the gap does not change and these guys are just staying behind each other forever. Dan Reed in the pits again, quite to fix that little bit of damage. And Jason Orr early on actually got past Matt Edmondson. That's Steve Rubino going off into the gravel. Going slow enough to really avoid a crash. Speeding up, yeah, okay, he's safely back on track. Robert Brown being passed. No damage, so he doesn't have to worry about peeing early. Drew Carroll getting past. Adam Singer going quite slowly now. Carlton Small now getting past. But actually, Drew Carroll's ahead of Carlton Small. So something must have happened here. I could have sworn he was behind. Anyways, the main fight for the lead here. Alex Gao, Chris Barrett, Edward Hope. We can hop on an onboard lap since there's not that much action going on right now with Edward Hope. to show you how close this is right now. You can see how close it is between these drivers. You can see Chris Barr actually tried to go for a little move early on in the lap, but you can see the gap is just not changing between these guys. Sure, it might fluctuate like 1 to 2 tenths max, but they'll gain it back within a corner or a few maybe, or throughout just a whole lap. But this is definitely the fight to watch. If they get the chance, they'll definitely go for the opportunity to just, if they know it's safe, they'll just go for the overtake just to get it done. So this will definitely not end, unless it's the pit stop phase, where someone just underfuels or overfuels more than they need. While we were watching Edward Hope, there's the fight 4P4, Oliver Swan, James Braid, Jason Orr. James Braid in the BMW and Jason Orr behind in the Audi with a slightly bent rear wing, so there was some slight damage from the rear cap. Coming through the final corner now. So they're a fair bit back on the leaders. There's the track map. So Alex Gall and Chris Barrett at the top are out of the hairpin now, while Oliver Swan, James Braid, Jason Orr are on this out of turn 1 right now. So by the end of the race, they might actually be close to lapping. That's Steve Rubino in the pits now, and apparently out of this race. Yep, out of this race. All these towing. Jason Orr still hoping to get past these guys. Obviously fell back from a holding position ahead of Carlton Small. Now he's in P6, maybe he can gain a bit more points, fight for a high position in the standings with one more race remaining after this. Chris Barrett making the pass for the lead into the final corner. We're going to have to watch that. Actually, Carlton Small dropping back as well. Edward Hope now making a move on Alex Gull down the inside into turn 1. Is Alex going to lose? Yes, he is. He's down into P3 now. And that's quite a shuffle. Alex Gull losing 2 positions now, Edward Hope back into P2 where he was at the start of this race, and Chris Barrett in the lead of this race. So now let's take a look at that move. So into the final corner, Chris Barrett went for the inside line, and he got it done right on the inside line. The outside line was definitely not working out for Alex Gull, and Alex Gull was also under pressure from Edward Hope, who actually managed to get a good exit out of the corner. Squeezed them a little bit on the inside, on the entrance to the corner, and it was already done there. Alex Gull had a very compromised corner entry and exit for that matter, and he's falling back now. Lost quite a bit of time, and Jamie Conway is there. Others said him to start firing, but Jamie Conway will be there. Although his pace is not currently on par with the cars in front of him, maybe you can go for a move at some point if he closes up. It's definitely easier to defend than it is to attack. We also saw 2 crashes, at least on the event log. So this is Carlton Small having a crash, so that's the long straight behind Adam Singer right there. Oh, and he's going on, coming back to the track, and yeah, stopping on track, so that's why it was considered a crash. Or pretty much stopping. So he's fine. And Oliver Swan into the final corner. And similar to Steve Rubino going wide there, or Matt Edmondson, but Matt did end up hitting the wall. And that's contact from Jason Orr. Jason Orr, Jason Orr, I was going to say avoiding the pit wall, but he actually ended up going into the outside wall. So that's going to be more damage on that car. The fast repairs are available, but unlucky for Jason. Unlucky. Is he going to head into the pits now? Find the corner. Now he's going to keep going, so he's going to wait for the pit window to open. And then he will box, fix his car and go on to the end of the race. If he boxes early, then of course he's going to box another time for fuel unless he can fuel save enough, which is always a gamble, honestly. Alex Gao unable to close the gap enough to make a move on Edward Hope to get back his P2. Chris Barrett under pressure by Edward Hope, 2 tenths to separate these two. And that gap is not actually widening at all. But Edward is not too desperate for a move. Very good move by Chris, and obviously that also paved the way for Edward to come in, take the inside line and just get the move done. Not much going on currently anywhere else on track. The gaps aren't too wide, like Jakub Maciejewski 1.4 behind Oulton Ellison and Jamie Conway sitting behind the main pack. But there's just no action currently, if I can use that word. Although action can be anything really. You can see Edward Hope pretty much pushing Chris through some of the corners. Maybe getting slowed down a little bit. And there's Robert Brown putting the pressure on Matt Edmondson now. Hoping to maybe gain that backup position. Obviously the man he was fighting with, Jason Orr, is now behind him after the unlucky crash. Is he going for the move? Not yet, he's not close enough. Maybe if he gets some slipstream support on the long back straight. But just maybe. Not close enough currently. So he's pretty much just having to just lift maybe to get close to the corner. That's Chris Barrett in the grass. Now losing the position to Edward Hope, but Alex Gao not close enough to make a move. So that's another lead switch. Now Edward Hope is in the lead, Chris Barrett in P2 and Alex Gao in P3. But you can see Jamie Conway's catching up to the main train now. This little fighting or this little bit of confusion happening in the main three is gaining Jamie some time. Let's take a look at what happened to Chris Barrett. So out of the fast right, took a bit of curb and went wide because of that. Kept it steady, but obviously grass can be very dangerous or very nice. You can get off grass very easily sometimes, and other times you just straight up murder you. Lucky for Chris, he got off quite lightly. He obviously lost the position and now under pressure from Alex Gao. And having to gain time on Edward Hope and get that move done again. But it could have been better. It could have been worse. He could have been in the wall and a danger to other drivers on track. Danville in the pits currently and Matt Edmonds as well, so this must mean that the pit window is open. Let's see if Jason Orr boxes in. Well, Jason Orr's there, so maybe one more lap. It is just about 20 minutes, so 25 minutes of fuel are required for anyone that stops now. And there's our race leader now, Full Pro, and our ARM race leader, Colin Wester, with 1.9 seconds on Nick Green, who is trying to catch up. They're both in Lamborghinis, but there's Chris Scar in between as well. That may cause some issues, or provide some support of the slipstream. Edward Hope is saying the fastest lap of the race, so this man has the fastest pace, or the best pace on track currently. He is setting the fastest laps. If he can keep this up, he will slowly start pulling away from Chris Barrett and Alex Gao. Which is quite a surprise actually, since Edward did miss out on the start. Chris got a very good start, got past Edward instantly out of turn 1, and he had to sit behind him for a very long time until he could make the move when he was on the grass, and obviously make the move on Alex Gao as well. So you can actually see the gap closing between Oulton Ellison and Jakub Maciejewski. It's now 7 tenths. Jakob doing a good job to close that up from 1.5 to 7 tenths now. The same, roughly the same laps, at least last lap it was about roughly the same, and Jason Orr is gaining positions provisionally, Oliver Swan coming into pits now, so obviously that would be his PPR collision, I'm not too sure, I don't remember. Jason Orr's car is quite beat up right now, so that faster car will definitely help him out. Obviously, the earlier he boxes, the better for him, since he's losing less time. But whether he actually does do it early, who knows. Chris Barrett with the fastest sector 1 of last lap. Not shown on screen currently, but there he is. 28.192. So that's confusing. Oh, sorry, Chris Barrett got 28.192, which is the fastest lap of this race. Oh, at least faster than the fastest lap, but it was invalidated. Hence why it didn't show up as purple. So he had the purple sector 1, but the rest of his lap actually wasn't that fast. Oh, sorry, it was faster, but I believe he may have invalidated turn 1. Hence why it didn't show up purple. I'm still now purple in sector 3, so he's benefiting from that pole from the cars ahead of him. But can he keep it together for the rest of the lap to close that gap now? Jamie Conway 1 second behind, so it's increasing that to 1.4. But that gap is definitely staying stable right now for him. So Jamie can definitely hope for madness to occur in front of him, and that's Jason Orr in the pits now. As expected, he's going to fix that damage, and there is that car is magically brand new out of the factory. At the top, and Chris Barrett, and looking to maybe go a little bit defensive. You can see Chris is pretty much pushing him through the final corner, but that's just 2 tenths of a gap for you. Matt Anderson getting past Jason Orr, and that's the fastest lap of the race for Chris Barrett. This time it was a clean lap, 28.42. Alex Gow improving on his fastest lap, 28.475. So they're pretty much level, getting 1/10 of a second on the cars in front of him, I think. At the top actually doing a 28.6, so he's losing time now. And you can see that from how close they are through some of the corners. Like, a slight moment of hesitation could lead to a punterino happening in the braking zone of the middle of the corner. That's how close these guys are. So we've done an onboard with Edward Hope. Let's go for an onboard with Alex Gow. And there's actually, who is that on track in front of them? That's Matt Edmondson actually. Laying them by quite nicely. Good job by him. No idea why it doesn't show up on the track map. Oh, there he is, sorry. Just round circles overlap each other. So as I said, on board with Alex Gow now. It's quite inconvenient that they put the massive rear view camera in the middle of the gyro camera, but yeah. That was quite odd. Seemed like the car completely stopped working really, but maybe that's some lift going on, lifting close. That was an onboard lap, and that's Chris Barrett in the pits, so that's an undercut attempt on Edward Hope, and possibly just trying to extend the gap on Alex Gall. That is the first man in the pits. Will we see Edward Hope and Alex Gall following now? Or will they keep going for the overcut? Obviously with less fuel you are faster. Maybe they'll try and pump out the fastest laps of the race now. And actually, speaking of fastest lap of the race, we've got Carlton Small who set the fastest lap of Amcross recently. And Chris Barrett, where is he going to exit? He is, I think that's pit box number 2. So based on grid position, oh 3, sorry, that might be 3. Coming out of the pits now, ahead of Adam Singer. Oh, maybe actually behind. Now ahead Adam O'Learman nicely. So that's P9 for him. There is the potential for getting that P1, who just fast driving right now. But, I mean, Chris does have the fastest lap of the race. But can he make it work? Oh, actually, no, he does not. 28.3 is the fastest lap of the race by Edward Hope. My apologies. Oh, actually, no, it's the fastest lap of the race is by Alex Gall, 28.28. But Chris, well, that kind of contradicts what I was going to say, but he can maybe try and pump out the laps now. Obviously, he was able to make the overtake happen, but if he doesn't have to worry about overtaking the cars in front, maybe he can try and put a bit more pressure on himself. Get the consistent low 28s or lower 28s, and that's Oulton in the pits now, and Jamie Conway as well. Jamie Conway actually coming out after, coming in after Oulton, and I believe there was an off track. There it is, final corner. Oh, that's the same thing as Matt Edmondson. There it is. Oh. No, that's unlucky. That corner seems to be catching people off, and yeah, he followed Oulton into the pits. So that's Jamie's hopes for the lead, pretty much, or for the podium, really. Maybe gone, unless something happens in the front of the grid. Jakub Maciejewski inheriting the podium position, still has yet to hit. Alex Gall and Hope included, and Eric Love too. So their eyes are on Edward Hope and Alex Gall, who will pit first. Actually, Alex Gall 1.4 seconds behind Edward, so something has happened. Doesn't seem like there's an off track of sorts, or even overtakes, so I'm not exactly sure what happened there. Alex has lost time, though, that's the point. And it was this lap, and that's Edward Hope coming into the pits, and the Lamborghini of Alex Gall will lead the race for at least 2 more laps maybe. Where will Edward Hope exit? Will he exit in front of Chris Barrett, behind Chris Barrett, or level with Chris Barrett? And that's Jakub Maciejewski and Eric Love, the 2 BMWs behind Edward Hope, coming in now. Where is Chris Barrett? Chris Barrett is coming through the start finish straight into turn 1 now. Edward Hope is right there, and he's behind by more than before. That's 0.8 of a second, so Chris Barrett has lost time on his undercut attempt. It has not worked, but where will Alex Gall end up coming out? Will he end up coming out ahead of Chris Barrett? Maybe ahead of Edward Hope? Well, that'll mean ahead of both of them. And there's Carlton Small in the pits, undercut attempt as well. Or at least he's out of fuel, higher fuel consumption. But I usually just prefer to call it undercut. Jakub Maciejewski losing it. And even after pitting now, that's him losing quite a good position he had. Chris Gall going wide into the grass to avoid him, keeping it together very close there. So let's see what happened to Jakub. So he went wide, lost the rear, caught Oulton actually, and thankfully never rode back onto track, he rode off the track. When he was coming back onto track, you can see Chris Gall getting a little bit scared. Obviously Jakub did turn to the left, but Chris was deciding to go a little bit wider to keep it all safe. Not a bad choice, but this is Jakub in the pits again. That may be his fast repair gone actually, so he may have to sit through the repairs. which is quite unfortunate for him. Alex Gow coming out of the pits now. Didn't mention an Edward Hope actually. Oh, is he ahead of both of them? Yes, he is. Alex Gow is back in the lead of this race with just 2 tenths of a second to separate him from Edward Hope, and a whole second separating him from Chris Barrett. So there's Alex. That was lifting and coasting, definitely. He saved fuel behind the main pack, decided, yeah, I'm just going to follow them, and when the pit phase comes in, I'll be ahead of them. He has done this before. He has got past Chris Barrett, I believe, at Long Beach, this way. And there's Edward Hope giving him the blinkers, possibly saying he wants to get by, or possibly a sign of respect. How is Jason Orr getting on? Jason Orr is in P6 right now, trying his best to maybe close in on Robert Brown, someone he was fighting with before, so now they can continue to fight Matt Emerson behind. If I compare the last laps, Jason Orr will be gaining time. He's just about 1 second quicker than Matt Emerson. And well, that could include the pit times and whatnot. With 14 minutes to go, Alex Gow leads this race. So we've had 3 different leaders this race, and this is currently the qualifying positions. So P1 Alex Gow, P2 Edward Hope, and P3 Chris Barrett. The fight for P1 and Anne is maybe going to happen. Conor was still currently leading this race, and Nick Green's still within 2 seconds behind him. Not close enough to make a move currently, but not close enough to be just forgotten. And that's Edward Hope making a move on Alex Gow right now, down the inside. We're going to rewatch this anyways. Edward has to actually tuck back in. Alex Gow with the inside line into the hairpin. It worked out better, but this fight is not over. You can see Edward Hope means business. Now coming in down the long straight, he has to take the outside line, then inside the next corner, and Alex Gow actually stays ahead. Compromised line for Alex a little bit. Chris Barrett rubbing his hands, getting ready to catch up and make a move, and then there's Edward Hope going for the inside line again for the double right-hander. Yeah, that's his front bumper really. Oh, actually, oh, that's Alex Gow spinning around. Edward Hope inherits the lead. I was going to say Alex Gow actually managed to stay ahead, but he did not. Oh wow. So what happened exactly? So this was it. So we had the chopper camera open. Edward Hope down the inside line, taking it very nice and high, and then Alex Gow has the inside line into the hairpin. Edward just had no choice but to tuck in behind. Alex with a very good exit in the Lamborghini. The BMW obviously is quicker on the straights. Very good driving here. Then Alex Gow does take the inside the line. Gives Edward a little bit of a squeeze, but obviously that's to not compromise himself. A fairly compromised line coming through the little bit of right-left, and then back towards the start-finish area. This is the second half of the lap. There's Edward's nose. There he is, there he is. And then double right-hander does lose some time, and Alex Gow goes in far too deep, thinking that Edward was going to be side by side. Then Alex Gow spinning out, clipping the grass with his rear wheels. And that's him losing the lead and out of the fight for the lead. With Jamie Conway 2 seconds behind now. I did say Jamie's hopes for podium were gone, but I may have jinxed that. That may have been commentator's curse right there. Alex definitely going to be unhappy after that. Jamie Conway, Oulton possibly rubbing their hands. Jakob Maciej coming out of the pits now. And actually we did have Matt Emerson crashing while this fight for the lead was going on. So Edward Hope is currently a leader. Chris Barrett in P2, 1.5 seconds behind with 9 minutes remaining. Eric Love dropping down the order right now, going quite slowly. So let's take a look at what happened to Matt Emerson first. Coming down the back straight. Ooh, just out braking himself, clipping a bit of grass, then hitting the wall. Let's just say he crashed 3 times. Well, it means that he stopped 3 times. So probably to let other cars by. Yeah, that is. And what happened to Eric Love? Eric Love lost the rear end. That's Jamie Conwick passing him by. Made contact with the wall twice. That front grille does not look perfect. Even if it's an ugly one, it does not look good in damaged mode. So Eric losing a fair bit of time, and then I believe he drops back behind quite a few cars, so there's been another bit of contact with him. So there it is. So coming up and clipping the rear end into the gravel, getting passed by multiple cars. So that's the way, obviously, costing him a lot of time. But obviously it's for the safety of the other drivers. Coming back on track. Obviously gravel does not really bother you. It doesn't prevent you from leaving really, it's just slow. It's just like grass. It's not like real life gravel where you can get pretty much beached. And then he clips the gravel, he clips the sand there. Again, does keep it together. So all went wrong for Eric. All went wrong. All went wrong for him. And the top currently leading this race with 2 seconds on Chris Barrett now. So it does seem like Edward's going to win this one. But anything can happen, seeing how Alex Garl did spin around. Obviously that was under the pressure. That was pressure. You can't blame it on just the driver. Obviously some drivers have different pressure tolerance. And obviously I have never seen Alex Garl actually make that sort of mistake while fighting before, but we're all human and obviously this is part of racing. This is what we want to see anyways. So. And Dan Bull now putting pressure on Chris Scar. Obviously dropped back at the start of the race, now in P9, hoping to get P8. Never club out of this race, Jakub Maciejewski still in the pits. So now 7.5 minutes remaining roughly. Maybe not the most exciting 7 minutes, but it's still 7 minutes of the second to last race. So it's not too bad. Oliver Swan hasn't had the best of days, I would agree there. Take a look here, I'm obviously running in P7. Had his little crash and pit stop to fix the car, I believe. So he's pretty much running alone, sadly. But hey, it's always a nice Sunday drive. Gotta think of it that way. So currently the only fight on track is Dan Bull, Chris Scar. Dan Bull does have the upper hand when it comes to pace right now, by a 10th on the last lap. Is he going for the inside line? Not quite. Oh, that's Chris Scar under the pressure going wide and into the wall. That's a very high velocity crash. Is he okay? You may ask. Obviously with online cars he is okay, but that car is not fine. He's coming back on track, but he's gonna have to box in and get that car fixed very much. That seems to be suspension damage possibly as well. Yeah, that car's not driving straight. Poor fella. Okay, let's take a look at how it happened in gyro camera. Bam! Nothing you can do there really once you're off the track. You just gotta hope you can slow the car down enough, but you've got no traction to brake with. Modern safety technology has really improved that a driver can just keep going or walk away from it. Obviously no FIA checks or anything, we're not weighing with motion suits, or at least sensory suits if I can call them that, where you can actually feel the force, but Definitely a crash that hurts the mind. Or your confidence, at least. Chris Barrett 3 seconds behind Edward Hope now. Edward's saying consistently 2 times quicker per laps. Alex Gall's saying fastest sectors invalidated his fastest lap 28.1. 10 seconds behind, obviously with 5 minutes or less than that he won't be able to do anything, sadly. There's all of us one letting him by. The orangish tint is turning into a very nice orangish sun ray. And that's the fastest lap of the race by Alex Gall, 28.08. So now he's putting on the fast hat. Well, obviously he's got the provision, he's got the pole position. He was the only person in 27. If he can get 27 in race pace, that would be quite amazing. The car should be quite light now, his tires are a bit worn. Maybe not the ideal conditions, but maybe he can make it happen. He did say he can pull out a few more times, like in qualifying, that he hasn't actually shown to us. So now that gap is 9.5. Obviously with normal action on track, we'll just watch along the fastest man on track. That gap has decreased to 9.1 seconds. So you could see Alex is definitely putting on the pressure on Chris Barrett, although he's far. And Chris is setting 29s now, so either he's definitely doing some hard fuel saving, or he's making mistakes now. He's setting roughly the same laps as Edward Hope now, though, so although he does have the fastest lap of the race, so that's something you can brag about. Jamie Conway 7 seconds behind. Oulton 5.3, and obviously free throw card out of this race. That gap is now 8.5 seconds. So he's gaining with 1.5 minutes remaining. Sadly won't change the result of this race, but those gains are big. Very big. So the sun is out. Going to welcome Edward Hope and Colin Worcester, who are race leaders currently in their respective classes. And is going to hopefully spread happiness on everyone else, especially those that have had not the luckiest race, such as Dan Bull, Dan Reed, Oliver Swan, Jason Orr, Steve Rubino, Jakub Maciejewski, Chris Scar, Eric Love. And there's actually Jamie Conway going slowly. Jamie Conway actually apparently has crashed. Let's see. Losing the rear end in the Audi, common Audi thing, well also common Mercedes thing. Letting all of us one by, and there's Oulton. So Jamie Conway out of P4 now and down in P5. Not enough time to bring it back, so Oulton with some damage on his front right after making contact with Jakub Maciejewski, who was coming across the track, and he was losing the car, so obviously unavoidable circumstances. And he's up in P4. Good job on him. Gaining one position. Obviously started P5. So just Alex Scout and Jamie Conway losing positions in Pro so far. Dan Bull losing 2 as well, down in P8. Alex Scout with the fastest lap of the race again, 28.03. So this man is improving a lot. Decrease that gap to 7.2 seconds. But the time is up. This is the final lap of this race. Everyone that's been passed by the leader is on their final lap. So hop on for an onboard before we congratulate him on his win. So that's Edward Hope winning this race. Very well done to him. Very, very well done to him. Very good pace today. Chris Barrett has to sell for P2, and Alex go a good few seconds behind, 7.3 to be exact. Has to sell for P3. Colin Wester led the race for Am, and Nick Green tried to put on the pressure to catch up, but they finished P1, P2 with a small gap between them. And Carlton Small, a fair bit behind these drivers, but still putting on very good pace, getting the fastest lap of the race if I remember correctly. So you can be very happy with that. Just didn't end up working out in the race for him. Just waiting for a few more cars across the line, Robert Brown and James Braid. You could say the fight is not over yet, but obviously too much of a gap between these two to really change anything. And across the line they come for 47 minutes of Oulton Park. So I can head to the scenic cameras for pro results. So our race winner is Edward Hope, and Chris Barrow and Alex Gow are your podium sitters or finishers. Muton Liston in P4, Jamie Conway in P5, Drew Carver in P6, Adam Singer in P7, Dan Bow in P8, Chris Scar in P9, Eric Love in P10, Jakub Maciejewski in P11 at the back of Pro. In Anne, we've got Con Wester in P1, Nick Green in P2, Carlton Small and James Braden in P3 and 4, Robert Brown in P5, Jason Orr and Oliver Swan P6, P7, Matt Edmondson in P8, Steve Rubino in P9, and Dan Reed at the back of the grid with P10. And that's it. Not that many drivers today. Hopefully for the season finale at Sebring, we can say a good well done to everyone in Season 2. Good thank you to all the staff and everything, and everyone involved. So obviously the drivers, the staff, the viewers, for making Season 2 possible. It's always something to look forward towards the future and look back on the fun times. But obviously that's in a week's time. Still got one 45-minute race remaining. And thank you for the sub, Herbsy. Got the founder's badge, so you can be very much happy with that. And that's it from me. Good night.